Good morning, everyone. Hopefully this is going to be a short video for the owners of the Brother 2340 cover stitch. Specifically, it's aimed at the new owners, the ones that just got their machine or are waiting on the machine, or for those of you that bought it a year ago and still in the box. Don't let it, don't let it intimidate you. It's a very easy machine to learn. You do have to do a little practice before you start a garment because you don't want to do a lot of tear outs. But I'm not going to show you how to thread. There's a lot of areas I'm not going to show you. It's just because it's all covered in the manual. The manual is only 19 pages long. It has a lot of nice pictures to show you what the tensions and settings should look like if you get it right. So anyway, I like this machine because it's a 3 needle feature. It has the clear feet, so that's why I like this. I have never used all 3 needles at the same time, and you're gonna have to excuse me. I am going to move the camera, up and down and sideways and what have you, but I have never used all 3 needle feature. I just used 2, and I'll show you those in a minute. But the first thing you want to do is when you open this open up the machine is order yourself some of these. This is the actual needle this machine takes. It takes no other needles. So I use it, even though it's ballpoint, I use it on everything. I have wovens and knits, so use it on that. I don't know if you're going to be doing fleece, but this is what it calls for. It tells you in the manual. Order some. I order mine on eBay in bulk, or you can get them on Amazon. But get these, replace the needles that come with the machine, and you'll be happy you did. Okay, so now with that, we're going to go on to some tension settings that you're going to want to change. This is your presser foot tension knob. It comes preset, but with doing your samples again, you may want to adjust it out to a little bit lighter than what they have. I don't believe you're going to want to go any heavier. You're going to want to loosen it up. So mine is already set. Like I said, I've had mine for 2 years, so mine is preset. I never move it. Come over here. These are your thread tension knobs. These 3 here are your needles. This is your looper. I believe they come preset at 4 when you get the machine. So when you start practicing, you can start out at the 4, but always look at the back and the front. And if you're getting tunneling, or if it's too tight on the back, then you're going to start adjusting these. Now, like I said, I work with woven and knits. My settings are always 2 or 3. It never goes below a 2 or above a 3 on any of these. So, but I might have a combination of, like I said, I've never used all 3 needle features. It's either this one and this one, or this needle and this needle. So it might be a 3 3 2, or it might be a 3 2 3. You have to, samples again. Back to the samples. This way and so that's how this one works. Now we're going to go ahead and turn the machine to the side because there's knobs over here that you're going to want to adjust. Okay, so this top one here is your differential feed. It'll come set at 1. I have found that if I put it to the first dot past the 1, my fabric flows really nice underneath the foot. I don't get any bogging. This knob is your stitch length. It'll come set at 3. Now I will toggle between 3 and 4. I never use 2, and I probably never will. Depending on the fabric, I'll use 3 or 4. So those are the settings there. Again, you're going to have to practice and try to find out which combinations work with what fabric. But for me, on both of these, the woven and the knit, all this is set up, and I don't have to, rarely do I ever have to adjust anything. So, but I am going to show you how to release the tensions, and very important when you do thread, the very first threading, it does come pre-threaded, but there's going to be a time when your thread is not in there and you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to watch inside this little slit here. You see that moving? That's your tension wheels. You want to open that up and seat your thread inside those wheels. You don't want them sitting on top of the wheels. You want it inside. And then these knobs are going to come in handy when we release the fabric, and which I will show you here in a minute. This is your little hex. I'm going to put the camera down. This is your hex screwdriver for your needles to get them out. They fit in these nice little screws here, right there. And you don't ever lose this. Just keep it by your machine, but don't lose it. And then when you turn to to get one of the needles out, just turn it maybe about 2 turns, because these screws are not very big, and I did turn it too far here a couple weeks ago, and it popped out and onto the table it went, but I found it because I was panicking, and I thought, oh, that's not good. But I did find it and put it back in, and they're not easy to put back in either. So make sure you don't pull them out all the way. So what else? Okay, and I'm gonna, this little groove here, this slit, this is for the brother attachments. I do have one. Here it is, and you see down here, this right here, this is what sits down in there. All they do is that they snap in place. That's what that does. It snaps in place. So let me get it out of there. This happens to be the hammer. I didn't do any research on this before I bought it, and I wish I had, because when I first got the machine, what I would do is I would press the edge, my 1/2 inch, and then I would use the guidelines and sew that way. And I thought, oh, there's got to be an easier way. So, I saw this and I thought, oh, okay. You just put the fabric in there. What you do is you turn it down in here, and then this holds the top of it, and then it feeds through, and I don't have to iron anymore. Well, guess what? Yeah, you do. And so this is a useless piece of this is just a useless piece for me anyway. I mean, some of you new ones, you may be comfortable with using these attachments, and if you really want one, I got one cheap. They're $50, but I'll sell it to you cheap. So, and they have other attachments. I believe there's 6 total that are around $300. It's up to you if you want to invest in the money to get those, but you can achieve the looks that you want without the attachments. There's plenty of people on the Facebook pages and in the group that will show you and tell you and guide you on how to get that look. So don't be afraid to ask. That's what we're all one big family, and that's what we're here for, to help each other. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to release fabric. And again, I always say, do a couple turn downs, and then always start with your needles down, hold your threads to the back, and then let's do a few stitches here. Okay, now you're going to bring your needles up all the way. And the other day, it was, I forget, oh, it was Genevieve. She was having trouble with releasing. She kept saying that her thread was snapping. Well, she took her little hex screwdriver here and was trying to release up here like this. And you can see it's tight. Even down here at the needles, it's tight. Okay, now I'm going to move the camera again. When you pull these, you got to push these to the right. You got to push it to release those wheels. So I'm going to put this down, and you're not going to see my right hand, but that's what I'm going to do. And I always pull at the needle. You can pull whatever you want, but you pull it out enough, and then you do it with the second one. And you always want to get them the same length. So you got this nice loop of 2 threads. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go underneath, and you're going to slide whatever you want under there to get it. Make sure they don't get tangled up at the needle. So here you go, because I'm working around a camera here. So all right, so there you go. So now when I turn this way, what it is this is the top, this is the bottom. I turn it this way, and if you're going to tie off, you're going to make a long tail way out here. If you're going to make a short tail, you snip it off there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your looper tension and you're going to slide it to the right and just tug a little bit, and you see it sucked your tails down underneath. They are now in the back. So what you want to do is you want to grab all 3 with your fingers like this and pull, especially if you're the one that's going to be tying off. I never tie off. You're going to want to grab those so they don't start unraveling. But if you do it in the round, you don't have to do that. It knots up, and you're going to go past a few stitches past where you started to cover that. So I never have any problem with unraveling. Okay, so now that's that one. Now I'm going to show you on the woven, on the knit. I'm going to purposely get it to bog down so I can show you how to release when you get to that, and you will at some point in your experiences with this machine, you will bog down. So we're going to get this in there. Again, we're going to do a couple turn downs and then hold the thread, needles down. All right, here you go. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in place to bog it. All right, so now we're bogged. I'm going to lift up my foot and see, I can't pull it. So I'm going to go ahead and release these just like you did before. Pull them out. Then you're going to cut them off. Alright, and you see you still can't pull. Alright, so now I'm going to move the camera again. You're going to open up this door, your looper door, like this. And you're going to release the looper right here. Okay? Now you see the thread here? What you're going to do is you're going to pull it at the eye to where you pull the thread from the cone, like this. Alright? I'm going to put the camera down again. Alright, and then you're going to cut it off. Right there. Right there. Now, before you close this door, always push that looper back in place. Because once you close that door, and what you're going to do is you're going to forget if you put it back in place or if it's still open. Because if it's still open and you start sewing, you're going to think you're really whizzing along until you look and see no threads, and that's because that looper wasn't put in place and it's not catching the threads. So now with this, you don't have to do your looper tension because it's just going to pull right out. So what you're going to do, and you can see it built up there, if you're in the middle of something and you definitely don't want to tear everything out. So what you do is you just trim it off to a point, and what I do is I snip the threads in the front like that, and then I take my fingernail, and you can see it comes right off, and then you pull the threads That one didn't want to go. Hold on. Okay, so now you're going to pull the threads to where you cut off, and then make sure everything's nice and clean, and then go back about 3 or 4 stitches, and then go right into those needle holes. And that's what I like about the clear foot. You can go through those needle holes and pick right up and go right on sewing, so you don't have to tear out the whole thing or start over. So that's what I'm covering there. I'm hoping all this will help you guys. But if you have any questions, let me know. If I haven't covered it, I'll try doing it again. But like I said, I can't stress enough for you guys that are new to this, practice, practice, practice before you ever start a garment, so you don't have to go through the tearing out process. You will eventually, even me, after 2 years, I still every once in a while I will have to tear out. But listen to your machine. It will tell you, just by the sound, it's just like your car. Listen to it. It will tell you if there's something wrong. Don't be afraid to ask the group. That's what we're here for. So with all that, I hope I covered some issues for you new ones. And don't be afraid. But before you actually get into a garment, any garment, once you learn this, always take a sample of the same fabric that your garment is and do a sample run to see if you have to do any adjusting before you actually start the garment. I mean, just a little 3-inch piece of material will tell you if you need to make any adjustments to the loopers or the threads. You don't want to get tunneling. You don't want to get skip stitches, but I think once you change the needles, you'll find you don't have skip stitches, because I've never had any in 2 years. So with that, thanks for watching, and like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Happy sewing, everybody.